Today, what I want to talk about is stepping back into your true power when you've been through a disempowering situation and when you're feeling powerless. We've talked about what to do with obsessive thinking and those initial stages after a breakup where you feel totally discombobulated. And now it's like you need a tool, right? But one of the things I want to explain to you is how the emotions actually get in the way of you stepping into your true power. So we need to allow emotion, which is just an energetic response to the life experience we're having in this moment. And that response, we can allow to flow through us, or we can have a reaction to. And often we do have a reaction to because we don't know what to do with it, right? Like these feelings can be so intense. And it's one thing to control the mind and to come into a place where, okay, I'm sort of a little bit open to doing something with this situation, to using it to grow, to using it to find my true power, because essentially that's exactly what it's all about. Everything that happens to us, it's not about the event. It's always about using it to turn around and look at you and to find your true power. So, how do you do that? And yeah, it's a practice, but the thing is you need some tools, right? So this morning I'm going to give you a tool. One of the things that really helped me, and this was like about 4 days after my breakup of a relationship of 13 years, and it is a significant tool. And yes, I was ready to apply it. Yes, I'd come to a place where I was working with my thinking so that I wasn't amplifying the pain I was feeling. And yes, I was determined to apply it. I was so determined to use what was happening to me as a way of finding the truth of who I was. But I did get given this amazing tool by a beautiful friend of mine, Robbie. And I was talking to him. He was one of the friends that I was reaching out to all the time when I was going through breakup. And I've mentioned before, find some friends, but friends that don't buy into your story and go, oh, you poor thing, aren't they a bastard, or whatever. These are friends that can actually hear you and friends that can validate you, and that they don't buy into the story, but they just allow you to express, and they might give you support in some ways. They might remind you to nurture yourself. They might remind you to keep loving yourself. He was one of those friends for me. I'm sure he might have even got tired of hearing from me because I was ringing him and another friend a lot. But he is a bit of an expert in Jung. And one of the things that Carl Jung used to talk about was how we can be in a situation and have 3 totally different experiences of the event. It's almost like they're sort of perceptive experiences, but they're feeling experiences of an event. So when something happens to us, often we will react in emotion, and we might feel like a victim. We might feel like we want to make someone pay, and that's really normal. Like, I'm not saying that you should not feel these things. Like, absolutely validate every emotion that you feel. It just doesn't mean you have to act on it. And it doesn't mean you have to stay in it and stay stuck. So Jung was saying there's this one dimension, if you like, of where we can go to in response to what's happening to us. And then he suggested that there was another dimension, that there was a place, if we were willing, that we could move out from that initial, I'm feeling like a victim, this is unjust, this is unfair. And we could move into a place where we're like, okay, I don't like this really sucks, but I'm ready to accept what's happening to me. And that sort of like picks us up and puts us in a totally different place. And if you try this, you'll see what I mean. Like, it's quite incredible, because all of a sudden, you're open to the solutions that are all around you that you could not see when you were in the other place, reacting, feeling like a victim, feeling like you wanted to get someone back, or wanting to make things right. And then when you get into that place of being open to accepting the situation, there's another place that you can step into. And that's what I bang on about all the time. The place of your power. The place within you that's the truest part of yourself. The place in you that is the most you that you can possibly be. Imagine how powerful that feels. When you're feeling the most you that you can possibly be, like that is just the most incredible place of power. So that's the third place that you can stand when you're working through something that happens to you and when you want to take back your power. Now that's all good. I've just given you the theory, right? Because the mind has to understand what we're doing first. Now you need the tool. Now you need to learn how to apply it. So one of the things when I've worked with Rob in the workshops that we've run is, and this is his way of bringing it all together, and it's brilliant. He uses 3 chairs and, well, I'm assuming it's his. He may have got it from somewhere else. But anyway, whatever. He uses 3 chairs. And this is a technique I used about 4 days after I went through my relationship, and I cannot believe the shift. I went from sobbing, fear paralysis, cannot see a future, totally blank canvas, dread in my stomach, not being able to eat, to like, oh my God, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. And that is pretty amazing. I'm not saying that it's something, look, I think everybody can do this, right? This is why I'm here sharing this with you, because I see so many women that after years, like years, 50 years even, they still haven't taken back their power from a relationship breakup. Like, that's a freaking long time to have a part of you that's shut down or powerless. Stuff that. You know, this world needs women to step into their power, because we are the nurturers. We are these incredible beings that love, that accept, that give. If we're not in our power, how can our children be in their power? How can our partners step into their full power? Like, this is just the most critical time on the planet. So everyone can do this. I really believe everyone can do this. If they want to. If they want to, and that's like the key. Anyway, back to the technique. I'm banging on a bit this morning because it's Saturday morning and I've got plenty of time, and I'm assuming that you have too. So this technique, set up 3 chairs or 3 places to sit. On the first one, you'll put a black or a dark coloured cloth, or make it a black chair. In the second place, put a silver cloth or something silver. And in the last one, put a gold piece of material or something gold. Because we're going to refer to these 3 places that you can sit as lead, silver and gold, which are Jung's terminology. So when you sit on the first chair, and this is incredible therapy, just as it is, it's great therapy when you're feeling all this stuff. This is the place where you really feel the reaction, where you feel the hurt and the pain, and you let it rip. So for me, I sat on this chair and I put 2 more chairs in front of me, and they represented the people that were involved in this situation for me. And I just told them everything I thought about their behavior. I let it rip. I was like, you what, rah, rah, rah. And I totally just got into it for as long as I needed to. You know, this is not fair. How dare you? This is so unkind. This is so hurtful. This is so disrespectful. Whatever it is that you're feeling about that event and those people or those objects, make it an object or an institution, whatever it is, just let it rip. You know, make sure there's no one around you and you're going to be interrupted, right? Because you want to feel safe at a time that's just you. Give yourself space. Create the safety and get everything off your chest. And just imagine that those things, people, objects, whatever, are sitting right in front of you, and you're just telling them everything, and you're just exploding it out of you with as much energy and force that you can possibly muster. And then when you sort of feel done with that, you just might come to a place where you're like, oh. And then it's time to step up and move into the silver chair. And when you move into the silver, it's like, you know what, I can't do anything about this, because you can't. You can't change a situation. We can't control people. We can't make people say or do anything other than what they're saying or doing. We can't. And I mean, that's obvious, isn't it? And yet we always try, don't we? What is that? But anyway, so you're on the silver chair and you're like, okay, I don't like this. I don't condone this behavior. This is not how I want to live. This is not where I want to be. But I'm willing to accept that this is how it is right now. I'm willing to be open to accepting this situation. And just feel it. Just sit in that chair for a bit. You don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with it. You can still think it sucks. But you've come to a place where you're accepting, or you're willing to accept. And you're starting to feel that in your body as you're sitting there. Or maybe breathe into it. Just take a breath in that place. Take in that breath where you're not fighting what's happening. Because it's exactly what happens in this chair. Is you stop fighting what's happening. You've released the emotion, and you need to do that, right? Because we all know that we want to feel empowered. We all know where we want to be in our lives. What we haven't been taught is that the emotion that we don't address is what stands in between us and that place. And so a lot of us never get to where we want to be because we need to understand the emotion and work with it. And we're not taught that. Not our fault. That's just a framework within which we are raised to live. So here you are in your silver chair and you're accepting the situation, or at least you're open to accepting the situation. And this amazing thing happens in that place. As soon as you're open to accepting, and as soon as you let go of the fight, things start to shift. You might put your hand on your heart and just bring your awareness to your heart. You come to a little bit of peace. It's a little bit more peaceful in that place. But the most important thing that happens when you step into this place is that all of a sudden you open up to the solutions that you're longing to find. You're trying to find those solutions. You're trying to look for a solution. You want to be rescued. When you're sitting in this chair, in this silver place, all of a sudden the universe opens up to you. And then something will happen. You'll go, okay, I've accepted this. And this is the time for the third part of this technique. That's when you step up and you sit into the gold chair or sit on the gold cloth, whatever it is that you've created to represent the gold. And all of a sudden you'll feel some inner power. You will feel it. Breathe into it. Feel it in your body because it's within you. It's this incredible place that when you step into it, all of a sudden you're like, you know what? There's something in this for me. What happened to me when I stepped into the gold on that fourth day after my relationship breakup? I saw so clearly all the places that I'd held myself back in my relationship. And as soon as I saw that, I realized, oh my gosh, this is the opportunity for me to fully step into all that I am in this moment. This is the opportunity for me to be all that I can possibly be in this life. And I just went, wow, it's so cool. And this just excitement overcame me. I'm sure that everyone's experience using this technique will be different because we are all so different. And it doesn't matter how long I work with people's emotions for, the thousands of women that I've worked with, I still am humbled every time when they share back to me how they're experiencing what I'm talking to them about, because their perception expands my view on what's happening. So I am so aware that for every single one of us, we all have our own unique truth. Take what I give you and use it if it works. Don't give me your power. Stand in your power and use what I've shared with you as guidance. Because for you, it will land differently. But I absolutely know that this technique is very powerful and you can use it anywhere. Because it shifts the emotional charge, which gets in the way of you standing in your true power. It puts you physically in a new energy where you can accept what's happening to you. And then it opens up this world, this new world of excitement, because you're physically moving into a much greater version of you that absolutely knows what you need to do next. You're opening up to a space in you that's always been there. You've probably had a sense of it. It's just that we don't pay attention to it. We spend our life up here thinking, creating things, working things out, trying to make things happen. There's a balance in that. Anyway, I would absolutely love your feedback on that. I would love to know, have you used this? And when you use it, how does it work? Ask me questions. If you're not clear, ask me, because I'll share it in a video. I'll make it live. Because you being more empowered in you will make this whole world a much better place. And I'm super passionate about that. I'm sending you so much love today, because if you embrace this journey and step into your true power, I respect you. I respect you so much. Sending love.